As we try to imagine a world without Nelson Mandela, it's important to journey back to that little bit of hell that imprisoned his body but never his mind or his spirit. It's a pilgrimage that I made myself back in 1997, and one that's never to be forgotten. The ferry is not on a pleasure cruise. It is tracing a journey that humans used to make in chains. 9 kilometers across the water on a one-way ticket to hell.
But also
tourists are now coming to Robben Island and the prison block that once held the world's most famous inmate.
When we came here in 1964, conditions were grim on Robben Island. They all believed we were monsters, we were antichrist, and that, you know, we eat people. You could never see the sunlight.
Lionel Davis and other former inmates conduct the tours. They explain how food and clothes were rationed by race, the assaults, the beatings, and how afterwards prisoners were forced to scrub their own blood from the cells.
You will also notice that there is no toilet.
This is where Nelson Mandela spent 18 of his 27 years behind bars. It made him a legend and his cell a shrine. It's where days in solitary confinement and nights on thin mats shaped the prisoner who became president and fellow inmates who became his ministers. This is the lime quarry where they were forced to break rocks, their eyesight permanently damaged by the glare. Nelson Mandela called this the Iron Fist, the harshest outpost of South Africa's penal system. It was only after international pressure and pressure from sympathetic South Africans that conditions here began to improve. Eventually, they were allowed to study, to receive a visitor or a letter more than once every 6 months. But Mandela had to lobby for 3 years for the right to wear sunglasses in the quarry. Tourists come from abroad, but it's the South Africans, black and white, who find their day of reckoning here.
The feeling of remorse, I think, more than anger, more sadness that one human can do this to another.
Bridging personal and political differences inside laid the foundation for the forgiveness they now preach on the outside. But still, it is hard not to be angry. And on the boat ride back, there are no smiles, no laughter, only people deep in thought.
I think it makes you feel that such an evil thing was done in this country.
Extreme sadness. We spent such a lot of time and energy and money and manpower and everything on people being locked away. My kids have to live with that.
Every South African has to live with that, but these people are lucky. They have just seen the triumph of the human spirit. They have just made a pilgrimage to the patron saint of political miracles. Reflections from 1997, and the greatest miracle of all is that the inhumanity and the unspeakable cruelty that could have crushed a lesser man became the anvil on which he hammered out a nation that celebrates his life even as it faces a future beyond the rainbow.